A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a bold move that has sparked international debate, former U.S. President Donald Trump announced he would cut all future funding to South Africa, citing allegations of land confiscation and mistreatment of certain classes of people. This declaration comes in the wake of a controversial new law signed by South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, which allows for land expropriation without compensation under specific circumstances. The issue of land ownership in South Africa remains a deeply contentious topic, stemming from the legacy of apartheid, where land was predominantly owned by white individuals. Despite the end of apartheid over 3 decades ago, the inequities in land ownership persist, prompting ongoing calls for reform. President Ramaphosa's government has faced pressure to address these historical injustices, and the newly enacted legislation is seen as a significant step in that direction. However, it has also drawn criticism both domestically and internationally. In a post on his social media platform Truth Social, Trump stated, "South Africa is confiscating land and treating certain classes of people very badly. I will be cutting off all future funding to South Africa until a full investigation of this situation has been completed." This statement has sparked outrage and concern among various groups within South Africa, many of whom view Trump's comments as an unwarranted interference in the country's internal affairs. In response to Trump's allegations, Ramaphosa emphasized that South Africa is a constitutional democracy rooted in the rule of law, justice, and equality. He clarified that the government has not confiscated any land and that the only funding from the U.S. is through the health initiative PEPFAR, which accounts for 17% of the country's HIV/AIDS program. The U.S. government allocated approximately $440 million in assistance to South Africa in 2023, according to official data. The new law, which allows for expropriation without compensation, is intended to address land that is abandoned or held purely for speculation. Critics of the legislation, however, fear it could lead to disastrous consequences reminiscent of Zimbabwe's land reform policies, which resulted in economic collapse and a mass exodus of investors. AfriForum, a group advocating for the rights of South Africa's white Afrikaner population, has called for amendments to the new law to protect property rights. They have distanced themselves from Trump's threat to cut funding, suggesting that any punitive measures should be directed at senior leaders of the African National Congress (ANC), rather than the South African populace as a whole. The ANC, under Ramaphosa's leadership, currently governs South Africa in coalition with several smaller parties. Trump's comments echo previous criticisms he made during his first term as president, where he accused the South African government of mishandling land reform. At that time, South Africa's government accused Trump of spreading misinformation and attempting to sow division. The land reform debate in South Africa is not merely a political issue. It is deeply personal for many who are still grappling with the aftermath of apartheid. Thousands of black families were forcibly removed from their land under the 1913 Natives Land Act, and the scars of this history continue to affect the nation's social fabric. Since the end of apartheid, the South African government has made efforts to rectify these historical wrongs by redistributing land. However, the pace of reform has been slow, and many feel that the government has not done enough. The new law is seen by some as a necessary step to accelerate this process, while others fear it may exacerbate tensions and lead to further division. As the situation unfolds, it remains to be seen how Trump's threats will impact U.S.-South Africa relations, and whether the South African government will adjust its approach to land reform in response to international pressure. The stakes are high, not just for the political landscape in South Africa, but for the future of its people and their quest for justice and equality in a post-apartheid society. In the coming weeks, all eyes will be on the developments regarding this contentious issue, as both supporters and opponents of the new law prepare to voice their opinions and mobilize their bases. The world watches as South Africa navigates this complex and sensitive terrain, balancing the need for justice with the realities of governance and international relations. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.